a mighty empire, advanced weaponry, and an ambitious emperor. Everything points to an easy conquest of humanity. But when the invaders expected a swift victory, they encountered something they never anticipated: relentless resistance from humankind. From distant systems, humans start fighting to defend their freedom, no matter the cost. Can these invaders overcome a species that refuses to be defeated? Find out. Before continuing the story, tell me which city you're watching from. I want to know how far this video has come. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so I can send you exciting stories like this every day. Picture this: you're an aspiring emperor with massive shoes to fill, big guns, big money, big aspirations. Now stop imagining and learn of the Zyros Imperium. They laid claim to the biggest empire ever known, with the biggest ships, biggest guns, and a brand new emperor with unlimited power. After his father's death, Emperor Thelon the Fierce ascended to the throne. It was from here that he began a relentless campaign of war against much of the known galaxy, and he won with every step. The elders of Sagittarius, the sages of Norma, and the titans of Perseus. Each had a mighty fleet, but when faced with the fury of a Zeros battlecruiser, all surrendered to avoid terrible losses. When a small and disjointed union of systems within Orion was encountered, the Council of Emperor Randolphus wasn't even called. Small strike groups were sent to make vassals of the mere hundreds of worlds controlled by, you guessed it, the humans. Before I get ahead of myself, let me explain how warfare commonly occurred within the Milky Way. Opposing fleets would meet each other on the battlefield, all lining up in an honorable display of might. The two fleets would approach in massive broadside lines, firing the full fury of their arsenal while still well within visual range. This form of combat was intended to minimize the casualties of unpredictable stellar warfare and limit collateral damage. Not only that, battles often lasted for only hours and wars only days. It was seen as cheaper to become a vassal to a superior force than lose expensive dreadnoughts. Fleets attacked each other until one side was placed at an obvious disadvantage. After this, the losing fleet would surrender and retreat for repairs. This process repeats until the winning fleet reaches a substantial system from which the losing fleet doesn't retreat, finally fully surrendering. In most cases, this is the end of hostilities. Now, these tactics weren't used during First Contact, but played a critical role in the Krag-Human War. The galaxy had never seen a war last more than a year. No doctrine ever foresaw any possibility of such a horrid war. Logistics were planned accordingly, only enough for a minor conflict with minimal casualties. No one, not even First Contact species, was willing or able to fight a sustained conflict. The mentality of most species was simple: strike first, strike fast, don't get struck. From every world, only those who could adapt to such strategies would thrive, and the tactics of galactic nations reflected this. Humanity went in an entirely different direction from the beginning. It was as if they were forged to be perfect machines of war. It didn't matter if a human was struck, if they struck first, or if they were slow to act. Any species that challenged humanity was destined to fall. If you struck them, they would strike you with everything they had, giving no regard to casualties, only wishing to spite your attempt to come out victorious. After sacrificing everything, they would strike you over and over again until your ability to fight was completely shattered and your empire left in smoldering ruin. As soon as the Krag Imperium decided to attack humanity, their fate had been sealed. Humanity sacrificed every last ship within the system they called Haven, just to prevent the capture of the planet Fortis. The sub-faction of humans living within this system were outcasts of an authoritarian nation-state within the greater banner of the United Nations of Man. The freedom-loving humans fought to the last in a spiteful attempt to prevent their capture, and it succeeded with a terrible cost. The small subjugation fleet was destroyed in full, but the humans lost over 1 million souls for every ship they managed to destroy. I will now play a recording of what is widely regarded to be the most influential speech of all time, the promise of vengeance speech delivered by then-President Adrian Steele of the Free State of Fortis. When we gaze to the stars, humanity has always seen a land of endless opportunity. After the tragic events today, only fear and uncertainty can be seen. When unknown vessels came to our fortress of freedom, we attempted to greet these aliens with all of the hospitality, generosity, and kindness humanity can give. We received only a torrent of plasma once our diplomats reached visual range. Long-range communications picked up only these words in response. Do you submit? The answer was no. Ships began to fire from longer ranges towards our planet. They fired indiscriminately, seemingly going so far as to target civilians. Our brave defenders charged their fleet time and time again until all that remained of these aliens were burning heaps of steel. 15,390 of our citizens were killed. Millions more are still missing. 99% of these deaths were civilian. Even as we fought them in the void of space, their weapons continued to fire towards the helpless on the surface. Even as our ships split theirs clean in two, they kept repeating, "Do you submit?" We would only respond with gunfire. Their cries got more and more desperate, yet they never ceased the bombardment. To anyone who can hear this, Fortis will not submit. Humanity will not submit. Our ships will not submit until every last individual involved in the deaths of innocent civilians has been brought to justice. No matter how long it takes, no matter how many of these aliens get in the way, justice will be achieved. Let it be known throughout the cosmos, humanity will never submit. It took hundreds of years to truly manifest, but the effects of this speech reverberated through the Milky Way for the rest of time. Humanity turned its loose union of independent planets into a singular entity, focused on the protection of all mankind. The Zyros Imperium resisted, of course. Thousands of the mightiest ships in the galaxy rampaged through human space for decades, but each eventually fell to death by a million cuts. Humans could lose billions of people, thousands of ships, and dozens of systems. Yet the resource drain was simply too much for the Zyros Imperium to bear. The previously loyal vassals sprang up in rebellion, turning the Imperium's fleet against itself. Internal opposition within Zyros systems wrought havoc on the Emperor's ability to control his population, and many dozens of worlds declared themselves independent. All the while, humanity festered and grew stronger. The wreckage of Zyros ships was broken down and scrutinized to every last atom by human scientists, eager to learn their secrets. It wasn't long before the reverse-engineered secrets of the once mighty empire came to cast destruction upon the last remaining Zyros battle groups in human space. Emperor Thalon the Fierce could only watch in terror as the elders of Sagittarius, the sages of Norma, and the titans of Perseus, alongside their newfound human allies, charged into his crown system. His once mighty and revered fleets, still clinging to their honor-bound doctrine of warfare, were cut down like a field of grass. He could only sit on his throne in shame as a human strike group infiltrated his palace and stormed the royal chamber. As he was dragged off of his throne in chains, he stared toward the great murals and portraits of past emperors, wondering if he would be the last. When standing trial for his crimes, he asked the now old and decrepit President Adrian Steele, "Why didn't you just submit like all the rest?" President Adrian Steele mustered this as a response. Submission is the acceptance of defeat. There was still light at the end of our tunnel. As long as even one human remains alive in this galaxy, that light will never go out. Humanity will never accept defeat, and if humanity remains undefeated, humanity shall never submit. Prisoner Thalon the Defeated lived out the rest of his days in a prison situated in the orbit of Fortis. Every day that passed, he would stare at the ever-growing lights on the surface and slowly come to terms with the fact that his reign was over. The era of humanity had begun, and he was but a footnote within the history of humanity's ascendancy to the stars. And so, we followed humanity's grueling and hard-fought journey in their life-or-death struggle against the Zyros Empire. This wasn't just a battle fought on the battlefield. It was a battle fought within each individual, where the determination to protect freedom and survival kept humanity from ever submitting. Though the cost was incredibly high, humanity demonstrated a strength that could not be defeated. A strength not only in weapons, but in courage, belief, and unyielding sacrifice. With a resounding victory in the fall of the Zyros Empire, this story serves as a powerful lesson about resilience, relentless resistance, and the ideals of never giving up, even in the harshest of circumstances. As the world looks toward the future, we realize that no matter how difficult the journey, As long as we don't give up, victory will always be within reach. Thank you for watching this story. If you enjoyed this intense and meaningful narrative, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you won't miss out on other exciting videos and stories. Leave a comment and share your thoughts with us. We love hearing from you. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you're the first to see our latest uploads. We hope you have an amazing day, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.